Have you ever walked away from a high pressure moment and thought, why in the heck did I react like that? You snapped, you froze, you over-explained yourself. Maybe you blamed someone or something else, or you said way more than you meant to. And immediately you felt your credibility totally destroyed, right? Overreacting under pressure isn't a personality flaw. It's a trained nervous system response, and that means it's something that you can retrain, believe it or not. Welcome to the Human Edge, where you master your mind, you strengthen your life, and you build the confidence to perform at your best. Hi, I'm Jennifer Rist. I'm a human performance strategist and the creator of the CLEAR method. So let's talk about how to stop overreacting before pressure hijacks your brain. So unfortunately, I have an example of this from the other day in my corporate role. One of my colleagues that works on my team that's more at a junior level is taking on some additional responsibility. So we're transitioning her into leading more meetings in different areas that others would cover on the team. And I experienced being in a meeting where I'm transitioning some things to her, and she struggled conducting the meeting overall and was snapping out, blaming a lot of people, including yours truly here, for her lack of being able to coordinate the meeting properly. And it was very interesting because she had been someone that was joining the meetings over the last year. And I thought that she had a good grip and a good idea on what the focus of that meeting is and has seen me run it before, so had a good idea on how to run it herself in a very similar fashion. But that is not what happened. She panicked. She froze. She didn't come prepared. And I'm not sure if she has been paying attention for the last year in the meetings that we've had on these regular scheduled meetings throughout the month and throughout the year. So lots of information to unpack there. But the one thing that she did do is she panicked. She freaked out. She had a lot of blame for a lot of people and things and reasons why she wasn't prepared. And we need to fix that. So when pressure hits like that, a difficult conversation, a tense meeting, a public challenge, or even you don't come prepared, or you think you're walking into something that you know what's going on, like this individual, and it kind of all crumbles around you. And you don't want to be the guy that's panicking, freezing, blaming other people, right? Because where does your credibility go? It goes out the window. And people don't want that. They don't want drama. They just want facts. They want information in a meeting. And they want for you to be composed, right? But your brain, it doesn't care about all of that. It doesn't care about your title, your experience, your intelligence, all of that. It cares about survival. And when you get into those states are panicky because you're fearful, you're stressed, you're maybe not necessarily prepared. So under stress, your brain shifts control from that prefrontal cortex, that part that's responsible for your logic, your judgment, your emotional regulation, to the amygdala, which is your threat detection system. And Harvard Medical School research shows that acute stress can reduce prefrontal cortex function by up to 40%, making thoughtful responses significantly harder. And that's why people crumble. Sometimes they totally freeze. Sometimes they get loud because they're panicking inside, right? But that's why smart, capable people, they say things they don't mean. They get defensive instead of strategic, right? They blame others or situations, and they emotionally react instead of intentionally responding. And this is just basic biology, baby. It's not a weakness, but it's something that you can train and you can improve. And there is a cost of overreacting, unfortunately. Let's be clear what overreacting actually costs you. It could cost you credibility, right? People remember your emotional reactions more than logic. They remember when you got loud, when you got a little obnoxious, when maybe you blame them, right? Also, influence. Emotional volatility reduces perceived leadership capability. So when you can't control your emotions, it looks like how would I ever put you into a leadership role to lead others when you can't even self-control, right? And the third one is trust, especially in high stakes or high visibility roles where you have a lot of eyes on you, right? People are trusting you. They're trusting that you know what's going on, that you can lead and direct them, especially if you're in a cross-functional team, right? And when you can't do that, they don't count on you for valid information. So according to Center for Creative Leadership, leaders who fall into this category of not being able to regulate their emotional responses under pressure, they're significantly more likely to derail, even when they're technically brilliant. So even you could be a smart person, you could have all the facts, you could have it all put together, but if you can't control your emotions when you're in the room, when you're feeling stressed, maybe even if you're around someone that triggers you, right? This is what happens. And in the age of AI, you have automation and constant disruption, right? Emotional regulation is the human edge that you're going to need. So we can have ChatGPT all day long, right? It can give us beautiful content, beautiful presentations. But if we can't self-regulate, if we can't communicate, if we can't run the room, understand what's going on in the room, and being able to conduct ourselves in a way that we can build that trust, that credibility, right? Where are we going? We're just another person in the mix. And oftentimes when we're not credible and trustworthy, people don't even show up for meetings, right? Here's the mistake most people make. They try to control emotions in that moment, in that very moment. And sometimes you have to because you might be just really a triggered person. So you try to, pause, breathe, reflect, give yourself some space to really think, right? But if you don't prepare for it ahead of time, it's like trying to calm this turbulence after the plane is already shaking, right? It's like the plane's going down. It's really tough. The real skill isn't emotional control. It's pressure preparedness. So it's something that you practice. It's something that you think about. And then when you walk in the room, you're able to think back of how you prepared for that conversation, that presentation, or maybe that difficult person that's in the room and how you were going to manage it. You don't rise to the occasion. You fail to the level of your nervous system training. And that's why it's really important to train often, and prepare as much as you can. I mean, sometimes we're in situations that we can't prepare, and then that's when you need some 90-second resets where you're pause, breathing, and reflecting, when you're asking the person a lot of other questions so that you can kind of smooth things out and get back on the same page. But the more you can prepare ahead of time, the better that will go, even if something happens right in the room, right? But let's get practical and look at 3 power moves to stop overreacting. These are strong, usable moves that can destroy and deploy this feeling almost immediately. So the number 1 power move is buy time before you buy trouble. Overreaction thrives on speed, right? The fastest way to look composed under pressure is slow the moment without looking weak, right? Sometimes just pausing, breathing, reflecting, it helps quite a bit. And it doesn't make you look like a weak person. It makes you look like you're thoughtful. You're thinking about maybe what someone said. You're letting someone, if they're, stepping out or freaking out or, going on, let them talk, let them go. And then just take your time to really take in the moment, to understand, be present where you are, what you're trying to accomplish, right? Try phrases like, let me think about that for a second, especially if there's some questions coming at you. Maybe say something like, that's an important point. Let me respond thoughtfully. Or, I don't know all the answers. Can I come back to you with an answer? Because a lot of times we don't, right? A lot of times we're put on the spot and we don't have all of the information. Or you could try a phrase like, I want to make sure that I answer this clearly and thoughtfully. So I need a few minutes to really think through this. So try phrases like that. And if you're in a high stakes meeting or you're being pummeled with questions and you don't have all the answers, that's okay. But don't make stuff up. Just kind of pause and reflect and say, I don't have all the answers. I'd like to gather that information, but I want to be thoughtful on how I respond to you or respond to this answer. And people respect that. Research from MIT Sloan shows that even a 3 to 5 second pause, it can significantly reduce emotional reactivity and improve decision quality. Pausing isn't hesitation, it's executive presence. Power move number 2 is let's shift from that emotional language to neutral framing, right? Get in your frame and get the emotions out of the room. I suggest that for everything. I know we're emotional beings. And I don't want to say especially if you're a female, but I see it more on the female side. I know I am an emotional being, and I know I need to shut down that part of my brain at work, sometimes even in my relationships. Depends on the situation, but I need to shut it down because most of the time, it's all that emotional hijacking that causes all of this drama, right? Notice patterns. When people overreact, their language becomes absolutes, like they're using phrases like always, or you never help me, or you never do this, or I'm always the one, right? Sometimes they make it personal, like you're attacking me, or emotional, which, some people are like, this is ridiculous. I don't know why this is happening, right? They get all of their emotions out there. So you don't want to be that guy, because when you think about it and you're present in the moment and it's not you, how do those people look, right? Instead, move to neutral framing. Replace that's unfair, saying that, to help me understand the criteria. Replace something like this is stressful to let's clarify priorities here, right? And replace saying something like you're wrong to I see it differently and here's why. It's okay to disagree with someone, but present it in the fashion that you're on neutral ground. Because when you start blaming someone, pointing fingers at them, they will naturally get their defenses up too, right? And Stanford research shows that neutral language, it reduces perceived conflict by over 30% in high stakes conversations. So language shapes emotion, not the other way around. And the third power move is anchor to outcome, not to ego. It's not about you. It's never about you, right? Pressure triggers ego protection. Your internal question becomes not, how do I look right now? Or am I being challenged, right? Because that's how we really feel, right? They're challenging me. They're trying to make me look bad, right? Instead, we want to train, we want to train this question. What outcome actually matters here? What's the outcome? What am I trying to accomplish? It doesn't matter how you look, what you're thinking, you're being challenged, somebody's picking on you, somebody's throwing things, bombs at you. It's about, what do I want to get out of this, right? What outcome actually matters here? When you anchor to outcome, you stop reacting to tone, right? You stop getting out of that petty crap out of your mind, right? You stop defending your identity. You stop staying in that mindset of stress, right? You need to stay strategic, right? It's because most of what goes on, whether it's at work or even your family, even discussions with your spouse, even if you're having an argument or a conversation, most of the time it is not about you. It's about the situation. So what outcome actually matters here? What outcome do you want out of it? And what outcome do you think that they want out of it? And how could you meet in the middle, right? This is a core pillar of high performance negotiation and leadership psychology. And according to Harvard Business Review, leaders who focus on outcome orientation under stress are rated 23% more effective by their peers and their direct reports. So, great opportunity to use the CLEAR method, right? This is where it comes in. The C in CLEAR is calm your nervous system before you calm the conversation, right? The L in CLEAR is listen for that threat or that signal, right? You want leverage there. The E is evaluate the real stakes. A in CLEAR is act with intention, not on impulse. So pause, breathe, and reflect. Use those cues of thinking, right? And R, rebuild credibility after these pressure moments, right? Don't lose your credibility in one foul swoop. Do all that you can to retain it, because it's like building trust, right? It takes so long to build trust, but you can lose it in a second. High performers aren't unemotional. They're not. So many people that I talk to that are great performers, confident, great presenters, they know how to make this work, right? Because there are people that trigger them. There are nervous tensions that happen. They are sometimes very nervous under the hood, but they are emotionally trained, and that's what is important. So here's what I want you to remember. Pressure doesn't create reactions, it reveals training gaps. And the good news is that training gaps can be closed. If you want to lead, negotiate, and communicate with clarity, especially as AI accelerates, right? It's only making it worse when it comes to pressure, right? It's accelerating everything. Your ability to stay regulated under pressure will matter more than ever. So if this resonated, give a like to the video, subscribe, share, and drop a comment. What situation triggers pressure in you? Is it a certain person you work with? Is it a certain situation? Is it, maybe a transition to a new role? Is it someone in your life? Is it a personal situation? Share in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear how you're managing it, and if any of these tips are helpful as well. So let's get clear, let's stay human, and we will see you all on the next video.